Phoenix Sky Harbor to fly on the first American Airlines flight to Carlsbad, California. Not only is this a big day for American, but it's also a big day for Carlsbad, as it's the first time since 2015 that a major airline will be serving their airport. I'll go over some history of who has served the airport since 2015 a little bit more once we're in the air. My aircraft for this historic flight will be N218NN, an Embraer 175LR that was originally delivered to Compass Airlines in November of 2015 and was then transferred over to Envoy in April of 2020, but has always flown under the American Eagle brand. Although not the shortest runway in American's network overall, it will become the shortest runway served by any of the major airlines in the continental United States at only 4,897 feet. According to Envoy, the flights into and out of Carlsbad are not supposed to be weight restricted under normal conditions, and no special training is required by Envoy pilots going in or out of Carlsbad. However, according to Envoy's chief pilot, this will be a captain's only airport.
We now welcome Group 1 customers and U.S. military members with an active military ID to board Flight 3716 to Carlsbad through the priority lane.
For this flight, I'll be sitting in main cabin extra, seat 10F.
This is exciting, huh? Holy cow! Y'all must have known about this a long time ago, but this is looking like a plane of people that want to go. And we're excited to take it. I hope y'all are excited as well. We've got my good friend Marina in the back. She's flight attendant number 2. Up front is Miss Lisa. She's flight attendant number 1. Alex will be joining me on the flight deck today as first officer, and I'm Captain Taylor. Really, truly, thanks so much for flying. We're happy to have you. Sunshiny here in Phoenix. That's not hard to see. Look out the window. You probably already looked at the weather reports as well. SoCal, rain, showers coming through, on and off. Right now they're saying 2 miles of visibility with overcast clouds at 300 feet. Now the exciting thing, I think it's exciting, is that we need to have clouds at least above 250 feet above the ground. So we have 50 feet to play with. That could change, so just full disclosure, we might have to hold a little bit and wait for the weather conditions to improve. So we'll see what we get once we get going to Carlsbad. Do me a big favor though, pay attention to the safety demonstration from our flight attendants. It's the same thing that you've heard 100 different times, but it's really always a good idea. Just gear your mind. I think we're going for an
Airlines flight to Carlsbad, California, operated as American Eagle. As you're getting settled.
Envoy 3716, Phoenix Tower, runway 7 left, line up and wait, report departing Airbus in sight, they'll turn southeast.
7 left, line up and wait, bus inside, runway 3716.
Envoy 3716, maintain visual separation, runway 7 left, clear for takeoff.
Visual separation, 7 left, clear for takeoff, Envoy 3716.
Envoy 3716, contact departure, have a nice flight.
Departure, Envoy 3716, good night.
is a brochure on how to connect to the airline's in-flight entertainment as well as a safety card. Being in the airline's main cabin extra section not only means extra legroom, but you also get free alcoholic drinks. Let's go over the history of service to the Carlsbad Airport since 2015, as it's a little bit unusual. The last major airline to serve Carlsbad Airport in California was United Express, operated by SkyWest using their 30-seat Embraer 120 prop planes. They ended service to the airport in April of 2015 as the airline retired the type from its fleet, and the next smallest aircraft in its fleet at the time couldn't land on the airport's short runway. There is a video out there of somebody on board that final United SkyWest flight out of Carlsbad in April of 2015. They were supposed to do a water cannon salute, but due to the drought at the time, they had to scrap that. I will put the link to that video in the description of this video if you would like it. There have been no major airlines from 2015 until now, but since then it's been a lot of regional carriers that have started, tried, and for the most part failed. The first small airline to attempt service to Carlsbad was an airline called Biz Air Shuttle, a public charter operation being operated by Ultimate Air Shuttle on board Dornier 328 jets. Their plan was to fly daily from LAX as well as Las Vegas to Carlsbad, with the LAX flights being twice daily, but ultimately they had very low demand for that route, and that one was the first one to be cut. The flights to Las Vegas did hold on a couple more months at a 3 times a week frequency, but ultimately they did stop in September of 2015. That airline did have a website that was active for a couple more months after they stopped service, and then they just kind of fell off the face of the earth and nobody really remembers them. The next activity for the airport was the then named Jet Suite X that had planned to start service to the airport in October of 2016 with flights to Burbank and San Jose, but due to very low customer demand they never actually started service to Carlsbad at that time. The next airline to actually start service to Carlsbad was CalJet by Elite, and for those of you that know the history and reputation of Elite Airways, you probably know where this is going. They started flights to Carlsbad in September of 2017, twice daily to Las Vegas, on a CRJ 700. Their plans were quite ambitious, and they even planned on starting service to San Jose, Oakland, Sacramento, and Phoenix, although Las Vegas were the only flights that ended up operating. They operated relatively successfully from September of 2017 until April of 2018, except for a brief 2-week period in February of 2018 when they suspended flights so they could use the aircraft to transport NCAA basketball players on charter flights. Their last flight out of Carlsbad was April 18, 2018, and at the time they told media they were ceasing operations at the time so they could restructure their business plan and come back even stronger in the future. However, they never came back to the airport, and their website actually stayed active until June of 2019, almost a year and a half later.
Please return your seats, fasten your seatbelts. Current weather conditions at our destination. 10 miles an hour of wind coming from the south. Visibility is improved up to 5 miles, and they just have light rain and mist. Clouds are overcast at 500 feet. Current temperature is 14 degrees Celsius and 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Should be on the ground shortly. Thank you.
The next airline to serve the airport was California Pacific Airlines, and I'm not going to go into the history of that airline as it's long and kind of winded. California Pacific's service to Carlsbad began in November of 2018 with service to San Jose, Reno, Las Vegas, as well as Phoenix, with the flights operating on board Embraer 145 aircraft. They were successful for a couple of months, but their flights were on the empty side as they didn't do much advertising. Due to an incident between their aircraft and some construction equipment in South Dakota, it took one of their aircraft out of service and they ended up suspending flights to Carlsbad in January of 2019, although they did say they hope to resume service to Carlsbad in the future as this was the headquarters and base for the airline. About a year later in January of 2020, the owner and founder of the airline, Ted Velas, did say he hoped to restart the airline in the near future, but ultimately in October of 2020 the airline's operating certificate was revoked and he died about a month later at 99 years old. The next airline to serve the airport was Taos Air, with flights to Taos, New Mexico, on board the 30-seat Dornier 328 jet operated by Advanced Air that actually serves the airport successfully to this day. The original flights lasted from January until March of 2020, but ended due to low demand and COVID-19 restrictions, but did restart once again under the Taos Air brand with Advanced Airlines in November of 2021. Advanced Air continued to successfully serve the airport under the Taos Air brand in New Mexico, and eventually started flights to Mammoth Lakes in California using the 30-seat Dornier jet as well as the King Air 350. In October of 2023, the now named JSX moved their operations from San Diego International up to Carlsbad Airport and offered flights to Las Vegas as well as Taos, New Mexico, being the new operator for Taos Air, although they did retire the Taos Air brand in favor of their own logo and branding. Fast forward to our current time in February of 2025, while not a major airline, Advanced Air was the first airline to successfully serve Carlsbad since United's departure in 2015 and continues to serve the airport with flights to Mammoth Lakes to this day, on board their Dornier 328 jet. JSX has also continued to serve Carlsbad successfully with their current operations including flights to Phoenix via Scottsdale daily, Las Vegas flights twice daily on most days of the week, flights to Oakland starting in March of 2025 4 times a week, as well as Taos, New Mexico flights seasonally. Although Advanced Air and JSX serving the airport is a good thing, having American Airlines restart service to Carlsbad does bring back the added option of having connections for passengers without having to recheck their bag and leave the secure area at the airport, given that both Advanced Air and JSX operate non-sterile, meaning they don't go through security here in Carlsbad, and use FBOs and private terminals at their destinations. Getting a new airline to an airport, especially like Carlsbad, is not an easy task. A Carlsbad board agreed to waive $351,000 in fees for the airline's first year of operations here in Carlsbad, and it also removes the 70-seat restriction that the county has on aircraft going into the airport. While a lot of people are happy, not everyone is thrilled with the idea of larger jets landing into the airport. And a group of Carlsbad citizens are trying to file a lawsuit against San Diego County in regards to Americans' return to the airport. But for those that want the service, this is going to be a welcome change, not having to drive down to San Diego International or up to John Wayne and Santa Ana, as they're both nearly an hour away from Carlsbad during non-rush hour. It is interesting though that despite it being nearly an hour drive away from San Diego International in downtown, when you type in San Diego on American's website, Carlsbad is the second option that comes up, and it even shows us San Diego Carlsbad. And when you print your boarding pass and get your bag tag, it does the exact same thing and shows San Diego Carlsbad, despite all the monitors in Phoenix as well as the announcements on board saying Carlsbad.
Tower Envoy 3716, 5 miles from Sidru, ILS 24.
Envoy 3716, Tom on tower, welcome runway 24, clear to land.
24, clear to land, Envoy 3716. Envoy 3503, meant to ask you earlier, call you on the phone, but is Alpha 6 wide enough for an Embraer 175?
Affirmative.
Roger.
3716 left Alpha 6, contact ground 121.8, good in.
6, ground 21.8 and web good on board 3716.
Good west.
Great connection, good on board 3716.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to welcome you to Carlsbad, California, where the local time is 11:46 a.m. You may now use your cell phone. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
I had a great time on American's inaugural flight into Carlsbad, California, and I have no doubt that the airline will do fantastic here, especially considering the inbound flight had over 50 people on it and the first outbound was completely full, which I'm sure has partly contributed to the fact that on their booking website they show up as San Diego. Hopefully we'll see more expansion at this airport, not only from American, but hopefully from other airlines as well, and maybe even the restoration of the link to LAX. There were a bunch of aviation enthusiasts not only on the inbound but on the outbound as well, and even with the rain I'm glad they did a water cannon salute, considering that was the only thing special they did for the inaugural flight, inbound or outbound. I'm here in Carlsbad for about 2 hours, and then I'd take air carrier JSX on to Scottsdale, located just north of Phoenix.